Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Grecia and I am a Mexican knitter living in the UK. I am a beginner. I have less than 1 year knitting, but I like to welcome you to my very first knitting podcast. Today we're gonna be talking about spring knitting, patterns and projects that I have going on. So let's get started. So we're going to start with the patterns that I cannot stop thinking about. First of all, we have the Electrine Sweater by Kolibri by Johanna. This is a DK plus lace pattern worked on 4mm needles. Now honestly I will probably just use the DK yarn because I don't like holding yarn together, but it is there to be worked on 4mm needles, and the sizes go from extra small to 5 extra large. So I will say that it's a great range in there, and I would love to work it on cotton or a blend of cotton merino or the cotton light, which is cotton acrylic. That's by Drops because it says that it's got microfiber, which makes it soft but also breathable, especially because of the cotton. And I think the designer, the sweater, it's knit in wool, 100% wool, and maybe some mohair on it. In order to show the very beautiful details in the arms, at least in a cold place, in a cold country, because here in the UK it is very cold. At least for me it is very cold. I come from a place where spring is really hot, like scorching hot, in the 30s or more. There's probably places that are even hotter, but to me I think spring and I think basically summer, and in here I think spring and I think basically winter. So I would love to be able to show the beautiful details on the lace work. So I will knit it a bit more thinking about the warmer spring days, almost coming into the cooler summer days. And that's why I will go ahead and choose something with more cotton on it than wool, or half and half, so that I can wear it without having to put any other jacket on top. Maybe even knitting it on silk, kind of like the blouse number 1 that uses silk and silk together. That will be very cool. Or silk cotton. There's this yarn by Hobby that it's a mix of silk and cotton. I think that will be very, very nice for that beautiful pattern. Now we continue with the Lilou blouse by, I hope I don't botch your name, okay, sorry, María Schei Mogenstad. Sorry if I said it wrong. This is a DK pattern, working 4mm needles. She uses mohair. Honestly, because of the cold but not super cold weather, I just see mohair and it makes me vibe with the whole spring vibe, you know. I think that it is so nice and feminine. It's got this little silhouette that allows you to cinch it in a little bit on the waist, but without being completely stuck to your body. So it doesn't have negative ease. I think it has positive ease probably, but it still allows you to add some shape. Honestly, the I-cords that go around the waist and around the sleeves, they just look really, really pretty and feminine and delicate. And with the whole halo from a mohair or mohair-like yarn, it just gives off spring. It just gives off fairy vibes. So that one is also a beautiful, beautiful pattern for spring. And the sizes from the Lilou blouse go from extra, extra small to 3 extra large, which I think it's a quite decent range. Maybe just a couple more on the extra large ones will be great, but it does have a very big range of sizes. Now another one a very new pattern actually. It's the Aurora strip knit top. This is by DeiDreamKnits, and this is a sport weight that is worked on 3 and 2.75 millimeter needles. She uses baby merino by drops, so any sport weight yarn that has wool will probably work. This is a very negative ease pattern. I don't know if it could be a good idea to also work it on half cotton and half merino, or maybe half cotton and half acrylic to give it that little stretch that cotton doesn't really have, maybe for the cinching in. Or maybe, I haven't tried it. Well, no, actually, I have tried it and it kind of failed. Using just cotton for a very negative ease pattern. I don't know how well it will work. I will kind of like to give it a try, just so that it's a warm top but not too warm, because of this low neckline that it has. I feel like it will not be very suited for a very hot weather. But then again, it's not very suited for a very cold... No, sorry. Because of the low neckline that it has, I feel like it wouldn't be suited for a very cold weather. But then again, because it's made with merino and because it is long sleeve, it might also not be fit for very warm weather. So maybe for something in between with cotton and merino. I don't know. I mean, I've never wore any wool items on warmer days or warmer weather. This will be my first year that I have some wool knits coming into warmer days. But then again, when it gets really warm, I just like wearing very short sleeves and stuff like that. I don't know. Let me know. Would you need a top like this on just wool for the stretchiness? Would you add another combination? Would you completely just say no, don't add acrylic to it because it won't breathe? I don't know. Let me know your opinions. This top goes from small to large, so it's just small, medium, large. It is not a very big range of sizes, but I think that the pattern designer is still quite small. So maybe later she could get more sizes in there. Either way, it is a very beautiful pattern, that I can definitely say. Now another one. I also feel now that spring here means also cardigans, because you can open them to get a bit more flow of air or whatever on slightly warmer days or warmer moments, but it's also going to keep you warm. Especially those beautiful cardigans that have some mohair on them. Now this one that I have is the Fennel Seed Jacket by Florence Miller. I think it's the perfect combination of a slightly lighter cardigan mixed in with the vibes of the Cezanne cardigan, the Emile one, that is super plushy, super just screams winter autumn vibes. I think that this one, the Fennel Seed, gives you more of a spring, winter spring vibes, and it is really pretty. The whole motif is really nice. I think it is beginner friendly as well. I have started knitting this one, and the very few instructions that I've done, I've only done the first 4 rows. They seem to be good because it's a broken rib pattern. It's not the half fisherman, which seems a bit more complicated for a beginner. Now this pattern is worked with a worsted weight yarn held with a lace yarn to give an Aran weight. Then again, I will only go ahead and use the Aran because I just don't love holding yarn together. It's too expensive and it feels like more of a hassle. This is work on 5mm needles for the body, 4 millimeters for the ribbing, and then she adds some double knitting details on 3.5 millimeter needles. This comes in 9 sizes that go from A to I, quite a big range of sizes. And yeah, I already casted this on. I have not worked much on it yet, but I am very excited to do my very first cardigan. And yeah, yet again, spring screams cardigans. Alright, now let's talk about some projects that I am working on. First of all, I am working on the key sweater men version by PetiteKnit. This is a DK pattern that is worked on 4 millimeter needles. It comes on the sizes extra small to 5 extra large, and I have my whip here, my work in progress or little project. I already did the very first stripe. I am knitting the 3 extra large for my husband, and it's working up beautifully. I am using the Women's Institute homegrown yarn, which is 100% British wool, and it is nice and lovely. It is soft, not overly soft, it's still rustic, slightly prickly, I guess, if you have sensitive skin. I don't really have very sensitive skin. I don't know about my husband. He seems to be alright with that. We will see once this is done, full and done. I'm not holding yarn together. PetiteKnit loves to hold yarn together on all of her patterns, or at least all that I've seen. It's yarn together with just any wool or wool blend, wool type with mohair. Most of the time that I've seen. Too expensive, like I said a million times. Take a shot every time that I say too expensive holding yarn together. So it's working very nicely. My husband is a very big man, like he's very tall. So I am knitting the 3 extra large. That's the size that he usually wears from shops. And I already tried the yoke. I think I'm about this area, and it fits quite nicely. It fits snug. The neck is not very tight. I did a few modifications. I didn't do the Italian cast on, and I need the ribbing a little bit shorter. That was mostly because I started to get annoyed by how I was working it. I was using the magic loop technique in a pair of needles that I now despise a little bit because they're bended. It's so annoying for working the magic loop. I'm going to show you. Okay, so the needles themselves, they feel nice. They are aluminum. They are not overly sleepy like just metal ones, like the other metal ones. They have a little bit of grip on the wool, which is really nice. But for working the magic loop, this little bend that they have makes it really difficult, at least for me. Maybe for more advanced knitters it's not that difficult, or if you really are into doing the magic loop, which I do really like, but it was just a pain. So I made the ribbon small. So far I have used almost 1 full skein of my main color and very little of my secondary color. I will see how many skeins it takes. These little balls of yarn are 225 meters for 100 grams, and they are usually on sale 3 for 2, which gives you I think they are 7 pounds, 8 pounds I think, for 1 ball of yarn. Then you buy 3 and it should be around 5-ish pounds for each skein, because they always have that 3 for 2 deal on Hobbycraft. So it is a fairly budget-friendly project, I will say, taking into account that it's 100% wool and 100% British wool. I will say that it's a good deal. So yeah, this is how this is working at the moment. I am very happy, and this pattern is just very fun. The repeats are very simple. The floats, I guess, are not too bad. I don't really have anything else to compare them. This is the same sweater, woman's version, so that we can twin. But I will say that if you're looking for your first color work sweater, this is very beginner friendly. The pattern itself is explained really nicely, very thorough. There's just one bit, at least on the woman's version, that I was a little bit confused when you're about to split 4 sleeves, but it ended up working out nicely in the end. That moment when I had to split in for the sleeves, I just kind of had to go back and read the instructions a couple of times, mostly because English is not my first language. Also, it just writes it a little bit weird sometimes, I guess probably because of the translation. But it's still pretty understandable. The color work itself is not difficult. I've heard a lot that for a beginner, you don't want your floats to be too long. And this is 3 and 1. 3 and 1. 3 of your main color, 1 of your secondary color. Or 3 of your secondary color and then 1 of your other color. So it will probably not scrunch up too much if you don't have like a perfect tension for your color work. I know I don't have a perfect tension for it, but I will say that it came out quite nicely on the woman's version, so I am thinking it's gonna be the same for the men's version. Overall, 4.5 stars out of 5 for that pattern as a first time color work pattern. And honestly, I liked it so much that I'm knitting it again, but I'm not gonna knit it with the color work. I have this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful yarn by Knitcraft. It's also sold in Hobbycraft. As you can tell probably by now, I really like Hobbycraft. And I do not have a local yarn shop close to me. I'm searching for one, but the ones that I have close are very far away. So I'll keep searching. Anyway, this yarn is gorgeous. The skin, it's just, oh, it's beautiful. I'm gonna show you a picture of it. It's called Merino Maize. It comes in 3 colorways. I haven't seen anyone post anything about this yarn on Ravelry. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like a special edition, if it's just not very popular or what's going on, but it is the most buttery soft ever yarn that I have touched in my life. Well, almost, but yeah, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's buttery soft, it's so plushy. It says that it is Aran, but it gives you the tension on 3.5mm needles, which I don't know if it was a printing mistake that they did, or if it is a very weird yarn. I don't know, but I'm working it on 4.5mm needles for the key sweater, the woman version, because I mean, I cannot stop saying good things about that pattern. It's a nice raglan, has this nice long neck. It kind of is funnel, but it's also like a turtleneck, but it's not just like choking you. And the sleeves don't come with any decreases. I really love a very nice wide sleeve. It's just more comfortable for me. At least in my opinion. And yeah, I'm just making that. It creates this very, very beautiful pattern, I guess, as you're knitting it. It's really soft, really plushy, comfortable, and since the spring is so cold, this sweater is going to be great for wearing pretty much all year long, just not on the summer. For the next pattern, like I said, mohair and mohair-like yarns just scream spring to me now. I just, yes. All I can think is yes. But only mohair, not held up with a more opaque yarn, just the mohair. Or maybe a very nice blown yarn like Drops Air. Oh, they just look squishy and beautiful, and they just make me think spring, yes. I have the budget version of the blouse number 1. Now the blouse number 1 comes in the sizes extra small to 5 extra large, I believe. It is worked on 5mm needles, just 5mm needles, stockinette all around, and it's a very nice beginner-friendly pattern. It's actually the first ever sweater that I made, because I made it with wool instead of making it with silk, so that the long sleeves would make a bit more sense to me. From what I hear, silk is amazing in higher temperatures, so maybe one day I hope I can knit it on the beautiful knitting for Olive 100% silk yarn. The colors are amazing, but right now for spring I'm going to knit it with another Hobbycraft yarn. I actually found this on sale. It is called Oh My Fluff. It is supposedly it is supposed to be worked on 4mm needles, allegedly. I worked it on 4mm needles and it just didn't look right. I made this very lazy swatch. I think it's the only gauge swatch that I've ever made. But we all gotta start with something, right? I don't know if you can tell, but the 4mm needles is this. It just looks like it has seen better days. I don't know if the camera is picking it up. I hope it is. Then I held it together, 2 strands together on 4mm needles. And that looks good, but it was very difficult to work. It was very stiff because the yarn is just acrylic and polyamide. It's 100% synthetic, so it doesn't have the nice stretchiness that natural fibers have, or at least animal natural fibers, because cotton doesn't stretch at all and it just hurts my hands. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about, right? So I ended up making this biggest part of the swatch with 5mm needles and the yarn held together, and it is a little bit see-through. I don't know if it shows on camera. A little bit see-through, but not that see-through. And working it on the 5mm needles, it's just much easier than the 4mm needles. So overall, the yarn is really soft. Each skein only costed me £1, so I am guessing that for the full project it's going to be between £4 to £6, which honestly, it's pretty much the price that you will pay for a blouse or a t-shirt on a charity shop or something of that sort. It's a very accessible price for anyone, and especially if you have some sensitivities to mohair. This one feels just really soft. It doesn't feel any prickly at all, but I don't know, you will have to see it for yourself if you have very sensitive skin. I have never felt mohair in real life until the other day that I was able to go to a very small yarn shop. I was just going on holiday. I was able to touch it. Now I believe that what I've heard about mohair being itchy are lies, so I don't know. But the bottom line is that this yarn is very soft, the color is very pretty, and I think that the blouse number 1 made with this is going to be a very nice add to my nice little collection that I'm getting of hand knit garments. Now for the mid-late spring, my plan is to start knitting the Toasted Tea by Rebecca Clow. This, I'm going to make it on 100% cotton. Also by Hobbycraft, if you guessed it. I just got a big yarn shop the other day, where I got the yarn on offer, and I got some cotton from the Women's Institute as well, called That's So Cotton. Nice name. And this pattern is work on 5mm needles. The designer, I actually follow her on TikTok. She was explaining how this tank top or this t-shirt is worked to be very drapey, almost see-through but not quite see-through, and that just makes you have all this airflow going on a very hot day. Now, for the UK weather, at least what I'm seeing, I'm not gonna use it until summer, but I do know that I knit very slowly on 100% cotton, so starting it around the middle of spring, it's a great time. At least I think it gives me a great window time to finish it just in time for summer. Now, this pattern comes in 10 sizes, which is quite nice and has a lot of positive ease, or some positive ease. Now, this pattern comes in 10 sizes, and I think it also has options for bust shaping if you have been blessed in that department. I am excited to try that because I have been blessed in that department. And I'll see if it does any difference on the fit with using it or not using it. But yeah, that knit is going to be further on as we are approaching summer. I am very excited about that because it's the gateway, or yeah, I think it's the gateway to knitting my own wardrobe, and that just sounds so exciting. Now, just to end the video, this is my latest finished object. It's my second ever knitted sweater. Like I said, great beginner project if you wanna do some color work. Very worthwhile, very comfortable, and the wool from the Women's Institute is just really good. If you don't have very sensitive skin, it feels nice to wear against the skin. Like I said, I'm only wearing a little no-slip tee under this, and it is still very comfortable. But yeah, that will be it for this video. Let me know what you think about my opinions on knitting for spring. Let me know what you're working on, if you are already working on summer patterns, if you are really fastly working on some spring stuff, if you live in a warmer place or if you live in a colder place, what you think about these spring knitting patterns. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye!